Right. In economics, law of demand always represent the negative or minus relationship between price and quantity demand. Price and quantity demand. Okay. So then we already identified there are three major factors which affect to create the negative relationship between price and quantity demand. First one is income effect. Second one is substitutes effects. Third one is diminishing marginal, or we call it diminishing. What we call here? Diminishing marginal utility. Yes, diminishing marginal utility. First of all, we have to identify both. These are the major things. But in some cases or some syllabus, we are not going to consider about this utility theory because it is advanced. Okay. But in your level, you have to identify that. In your level, I think you have to calculate the utility functions also in next lesson. Okay, we will discuss. First of all, we have to identify what's the meaning of income effect. In here, we are going to consider about the buying ability. Okay, the price of the commodity is just 5 rupees. And the quantity demand, it is just 10. Now you can identify the expenditure related to that commodity. It is just 50. Okay. So then assume that this consumer only generate income just 50 rupees. So then nothing to hesitate, he can buy 10 commodities. But unfortunately, if the price of the commodity increase to 10 rupees, that means price increasement. So then what will happen to the buying ability of the person? Decrease. It reduces. It reduces to 5. So then again, the expenditure level, it is similar. It is equal to the 50. So now you can identify the buying ability of the people will determine according to the price of the commodity. Okay. Basically, we know that buying ability is the main problem. So then if the price of the commodity increase, the quantity demand will decrease. Create the negative relationship again. If the price of the commodity again reduced to 5, that means the price of the commodity reduced. What will happen to the buying ability? It increases. So then this is the theory. Okay. Again, create the negative relationship between price and quantity demand. So this is the effect of income. But in here, if you are going to describe that income effect, you have to think some different type of determinants before that one. You have to think about that one. The other factors, we already discussed that 7 or 6 factors related to the demand of any kind of commodity. So now you have to think other factors. Other factors are remaining constant. That means other factors are not going to change. No change. Why we are going to assume something like that one? Because, as an example, just consider, we already discussed that the price of the commodity is 5 rupees and quantity demand is just 10. And they increase the price of the selected commodity is going to 10. And what will happen to the quantity demand? Reduce 5. This is the example. So just consider the income of the consumer. It related to the other factors. Okay. When the price of the commodity 5 rupees, the quantity demand is 10. That means it's going to expend only 50 rupees. At that level, the income also 50. So there's no problem. So then the price of the commodity increases to 10 rupees. Right? But still this person can purchase 10 quantity. How? With the price increasement, if the income of the consumer increase to 100 rupees, there is no problem. He can purchase it. So now you can identify if other factors are going to change with the price changes, you cannot create the negative relationship between quantity demand and price. So that is why we are going to identify, first of all, other factors which affect to create the demand for any kind of market, for any kind of commodity. Those are constant. So not going to change. So just consider if the choice of the commodity increase without changing the price, what will happen to the quantity demand? It also can be changed. Yes, price is not going to change, but the choice of the consumer change. Just consider the choice of the consumer reduce. Then without price change, your quantity demand can reduce. Yes, that is why we are going to assume other factors are remaining constant. Okay, so then another assumption is in certain time period. Okay, it can be happen in short time period or certain time period. We cannot create something like that law of demand for the long time period. Why? Factors can be changed. Situation can be changed. Each and everything can be changed within long time period. So we are going to consider about certain time period. Okay. Within certain time period, the changes of the market can be identified. That is why we are not going to consider about the long time period or something like other things. So you have to consider about that. So now you can identify what's the meaning of income effect. Okay. Let's try to identify. Within certain time period, for one commodity, once a particular commodity, the factors which affect to create the demand, except price, other factors are constant. When the price increase, quantity demand decrease. When the price decrease, quantity demand increase. The negative relationship between price and the quantity created by the effect of income. That's the meaning of income effect. So you can define it. So there is no any universal definition for the economics. Okay, you can define each and every components by using your words. It is not wrong. Don't try to copy anything. Just consider about yourself and try to identify the factors changes. Then you will build up the definitions. Okay, just mind that. When other factors are remaining constant, or stuff will start in within certain time period. Within certain time period. When other factors are remaining constant. When other factors are remaining constant, except price, price changes create buying ability changes. That effect that effect can be identified as income effect. Income effect for the law of demand. That is enough. Okay. You can explain that situation by using simple example. That is enough. Just consider about prices, quantity, demand, and the income of the consumer. That is enough. Just 5 rupees, 10 commodities consumption, and the income is just 50. No change in the income, but only change in the price. Then what happened to the demand? It is reduced. Then there is a negative relationship between price and quantity. That is enough. Okay. Did you get the idea for the income effect? Okay. Right. Now we can go to the substitute effect. Okay. Is there any problem with that one? No. Right. Now just discuss about the substitutes. So what do you mean by the substitute? Because you are going to use many substitutes in your life, day-to-day life. Okay. As example, just coffee for tea. Just we know that the satisfaction, the utilization is not equal between those two commodities. But you can use that coffee for the tea. That is enough to build up the relationship between two commodities as substitutes. Okay. As an example, you are going to travel to Colombo by using public transport, buses. Or you can use train. Yes, we know that the utilization of those two services are different. But the final destination is similar. Then if there is no train services for this day, you have to use this alternative. Alternative means substitutes. So now you can identify substitutes is, it can be utilized. Substitute can be identified by using commodities, goods and services. So production factors also can be substitutes. If you are going to produce some commodities by using labor, capital is the substitute for the labor. Okay. As an example, just consider ABC company produce a motor vehicle. Okay. By using a labor inputs and capital input. Yes, they can produce. Okay. There's ingredients, other things are available, but the assembling activity is done by labors. The ABC company 100% assembles all those machineries by using labor. Yes. But finally, they are changing the decision. So then they decide to purchase some machineries to the production process. There are 40% assembling activity done by the machineries. 60% done by the workers, I mean labors. So now you can identify, you can use that capital input, so capital equipment as a substitute for the labor. Yes. වෙනුවට පාවිච්චි කරන්න පුළුවන්. ශ්‍රමිකයෝ යොදාගෙන හදන්න පුළුවන් දේ යන්ත්‍රයක් යොදාගෙන හදන්නත් පුළුවන්. එතකොට ඒක වෙනුවට පාවිච්චි කරන්න. එහෙනම් අයිවටත් අපි කියන්නේ substitutes. So not only for the consumption purposes, production purposes also must be there. Okay. Substitute can be identified in production purposes or consumption purposes, services, good, anything. Okay, right. Then there's something important thing between those substitutes. When you are going to buy something in the market, you are going to compare the prices of substitutes. Yes. Just consider the 100 grams of coffee compared to the tea 100 grams. Just consider the price of the coffee. It is a 100-gram packet. It is 2,000. Okay, I'm going to assume prices. I don't have any idea of the real prices. Okay, right, 200. The tea prices is just 100. Already you identify the utilization is similar or close. Okay, so then nothing to hesitate. You are going to buy the tea because it is reasonably okay. Okay, right. So then just consider what will happen to the price of the tea increase to 300, 100 gram of, yes, nothing to discuss. You are going to consume coffee because coffee is the substitute for the tea. Tea is the substitute for the coffee. So now you can identify the price of the certain commodity can be changed. Yes. According to change in the price of the commodity, certain commodity, the substitute can be consuming substitutes can be change the utilization. Can change the utilization. As an example, we just consider, I will describe that situation by using simple example. Okay, just consider the tea prices and the coffee prices. Okay, so just consider the price of both are this 100 grams. Okay, similar amount, similar page. Price of the tea, it is just 200. So then price of the coffee 1 to 100 gram, also similar prices, no change, similar prices. Okay, and the quantity demand of the tea is 500 packets. Okay, quantity demand of the coffee is just 200 because most of the people like to drink the tea. That is why. So this is the situation. But suddenly the price of the tea increased to 300. Okay. So then you are going to compare the price of the tea with the price of the coffee. There is no change in the coffee. So now, after considering that factor, consumer decide to buy the coffee. Okay, because it is reasonably low prices. That is why they are going to use. So then what will happen to the demand of the tea? It will this much reduce. Just consider it reduced to 300. Then what happened to the reduction amount? It is just 200. Yes, this 200 must be there. So then what will happen to the demand of the coffee? It increased to 400. Yes. So now you have to forget other things. Just go to the main point. What is the certain production? Certain commodities, tea. Certain commodity quantity demand is there. Forget other things. Okay. Forget other coffee and coffee demand. So just consider here. Price is 200. Demand is 500. Price increased to 300. What happened to the demand? Reduce.
Reduced to 300.
300. Yes. Again, created the negative relationship between price and quantity demand for the certain commodity. So now, how that kind of negative relationship develop? Because of the substitute. Yes. If there is no substitutes, nothing to discuss in here. You can identify some commodities, there is no substitutes. So just consider about the LP gas. For the people who are living in the urban areas, They don't have any alternatives. Okay. So the prices of the gas increase. So then they don't have enough power to change the quantity of demand. That is why prices will be arise. But you can identify during the pandemic time period, the prices of the gas increased and there is no gases to purchase. But the people who are living in the villages or countryside, they got some alternatives. Yes, they got some alternatives because they can find alternatives in their village area. So they got the idea to change the demand. But unfortunately, the people who are living in the urban area, they don't have enough power to change the quantity. That's what happened. So now you can identify if there is no substitute, you don't have enough power to change the quantity. But in here, there is a substitute quantity. So by using that substitute quantity, you can change the quantity. That is why we identify that situation as substitute effect. Effect of the substitutes. If there is no substitute, the relationship between price and quantity demand will not be negative. Yes. Because of these substitutes, the relationship between price and quantity demand create as a negative. We call it negative relationship because of the substitute effect. Did you get the idea?
Yes.
Yes. Right. අපි එතකොට මේක කම්පෙයාර් කරන හින්දා තමයි මේක වෙන්නේ. කම්පෙයාර් කරන්නේ නැත්නම් කොහොම කිසි දෙයක් වෙන්න විදියක් නැහැ. හරි කම්පෙයාර් කරන හින්දා තමයි දැන් අපි ඕනම භාණ්ඩයක් මිලදී ගන්න ගියාම කම්පෙයාර් කරනවා. Any commodity. If there is substitutes, you are going to compare. Right. That is how we can actively participate the market activity as a rational consumer. If you are not going to compare the goods and services, prices and each and everything, your decision is not a perfect decision. Right? That is why you have to consider about the substitutes and the complementary also. We already discussed about the complementary commodities. This is related to the commodity. So this is only about the substitute effect. So how we can define that one when other things are remaining constant. The change in the price of certain commodity. Change in the price of certain commodity will affect to change of the quantity demand of the certain commodity. Why? Because of the effect of substitutes. Because of the effect of substitutes. When the price of the certain commodity change, substitute commodity will be the chosen commodity of the consumers to consume or not. Sometimes it will be the perfect decision, sometimes it will not be the perfect decision. As an example, if the price of the certain commodity reduce, the people who purchase substitute commodity, they reduce the substitute production demand and purchase the certain commodity. It also creates the negative relationship. If the price of the certain commodity increase, consumption of the substitute commodity will increase. Then it affect to reduce the consumption of the certain commodity. දෙපැත්තම අපිට ගන්න පුළුවන්. දැන් අපි අපේ භාණ්ඩේ මිල අඩු වෙනකොට අපේ භාණ්ඩේ වාසිදායකයි. හරි. ඒක අපි ඔකට වචනයක් කියනවා මොකද්ද මට ඒක හරියට මතක නැහැ. 1 minute. compare අපි ඒකට කියනවා වචනයක් මේ සංසන්දනාත්මක වාසිදායක වෙන්නේ බාහිර. තමයි අපි පාවිච්චි කරන්නේ. relatively comparatively advantage එකක් තියෙනවනේ එතන. ඒ comparative advantage එකකින් හින්දා තමයි අපි මේ certain commodity එකේ quantity එක අඩු වැඩි කරන්නේ. දැන් අර T එකේ price එක වැඩි වෙච්ච ගමන් compare කරපු ගමන් advantage එක තියෙන copy වලට. ඒකයි ඒක වෙනස් වෙලා යන්නේ. හරි ඒක කියන්නේ අපි comparative advantage මත හරියට වචන මෙතන comparative advantage. මේ වාසි සංසන්දනාත්මක වාසිය කියලා අපි කියනවා. So if you are going to consider about this one, you can identify why the negative relationship between build up because of the comparative advantage. Okay, do you get the idea for the substitute effect? I think in your in your notebook there must be a definition. Okay. There must be a definition related with that one. Yes. Another law of demand and schedule, and the demand curve, demand function. Okay. Shifting demand. I can find. Okay, you can find it.
The substitution effect, right?
Yeah, substitute effect. Definition එකක් තියෙනවනේ.
Yes.
කොහොමද තියෙන්නේ?
When the price of one commodity falls, it will be advantageous for the consumer to purchase that commodity. The price of which fell in relation to the others.
Others.
As a business.
Yes. ඒක තියෙනවනේ පැහැදිලිව එහෙම කියලා. Right. Now you can identify the relationship. Right. Third one, it is diminishing utilizations, diminishing satisfaction, diminishing marginal utilization. Yes. When you are going to consume commodities 2, 3, 4, one by one, increase one by one. The total utilization, we call it TU. Okay. Also can be increases 30, 35 and 36 when you're going to consume 5. Again 35 when you're going to consume 6, it is 30. Okay. Now you can identify the relationship between quantity demand. Quantity demand always represent the consumption amount of consumption. Increase one by one. A similar amount. Okay. But the total utilization mean that utilization after consuming that amount, what is the utilization, satisfaction amount of your money? That's the meaning of total utilization. Okay. So you can identify when you are going to consume 2 commodities, your satisfaction total utilization 30. And when you are going to increase the utilization by one amount, the difference between these two is just 5. But you are going to increase another one, the difference going to be reduced. That's one. But after that one, at certain point, you are going to increase the consumption by one amount. What will happen to the difference? it reduced by 1. Again, it reduced by 5. After certain point, if you are going to increase the consumption by 1, your satisfaction can be reduced. This is why we call it diminishing marginal returns. The marginal consumption or marginal utilization going to be reduced after a certain point. Up to a certain point, your satisfaction increases. As example, this one. This is the amount of the consumption. This is the satisfaction. After this reaching point, your satisfaction can be reduced. That means in the maximum point of total utility, marginal utility becomes 0. After marginal utility, it becomes negative values. Okay, don't worry about the marginal utility, total utility. In the next lesson, I will calculate all the things, and do not worry about that one. Okay. I just need you to got the idea, deliver the idea only in here. I will calculate each and everything in the next lesson. Okay, just consider total utilities. The utility or satisfaction after consuming the amount of consumption. Marginal utility means if you are going to increase the one amount, what is the change of the total amount? Is change in the total amount is just 5. Then marginal utility is just 5. Here it is marginal utility 1. Here it is -1. Here it is additional. Marginal mean addition. Additional utility to the total utility. Okay, changing amount. So you can identify changing amount can be reduced. So now you are going to think whether you are going to consume marginal unit or not. Yes. Okay. If the price of the commodity increase, what will happen to the marginal utility? It reduces. You are not going to satisfy by consuming the goods and services in higher prices. Yes, you will satisfy if you can purchase the similar production in a lower prices. That is how the satisfaction created in the mind of the consumers. So just consider you are using some handwatch or something like that one, or laptop or something like. So just consider mobile phone. Okay, latest mobile phone you are purchased by the certain places. The price of the certain mobile is 70,000. But another person or friends purchase similar mobile phone from other places, different places, the price is reasonably low. What will happen to your mind? You are not satisfied with that. So then you have to consider about the prices. If you can consume goods and services in lower prices, that is how you can satisfy. If you can if you have to purchase goods and services in higher prices, that is not the satisfaction. Okay, I'm not going to discuss each and every aspect related to the marginal utility because we have to concern about this thing in second lesson. Okay, we can calculate it. Now we are heading to identify the elasticity. After elasticity, we can calculate the taxes and subsidies. Okay, just try to clearly identify what I am going to discuss in here. If there is any doubt, just speak. Okay, right. First of all, we have to identify what's the meaning of elasticity. Elasticity. Elasticity of demand. Okay, elasticity of demand can be identified in 3 categories: price elasticity, income elasticity, and substitute elasticity or cross elasticity. Okay. Before I identify those 3 kind of elasticity, I will describe what's the meaning of elasticity. Okay, elasticity. So first of all, you identify the equations related to the demand. QD equal A minus BP. This is the equation. In here, you identify the difference between the independent variable and dependent variable. Okay. In the part of left side, you always put the dependent variable. Dependent variable. Okay. In the next part, right part, okay, you are including independent variable. Okay. Now you can identify price is the independent variable. Yes. QD is the depending variable. Okay. We already discussed that if the price change, quantity demand also change. Change means quantity demand going to respond for that change. This is response. Okay. Now we identify that change, price reduction, demand increasement. Price increasement, demand reduction. Negative relationship. It also elasticity. Okay. So according to change in the independent variable, okay, clearly identified, according to change in the independent variable, the response of the dependent variable is the elasticity. According to change in the independent variable, the response of the dependent variable is the elasticity. It's very simple. Okay. So then just remind other things are remaining constant. Okay. If other things are also going to change with the prices, you cannot identify the elasticity. Within certain time period, if independent variable change, the response of the dependent variable is the meaning of the elasticity. Okay. So independent variable is price. According to price change, quantity demand can be changed. Yes. So that's the meaning of elasticity. So if you are going to think about price as independent variable, this is the meaning of price elasticity demand. Okay. If you are going to think or assume the independent variable is the income, according to income change, demand going to be changed. Demand going to be response. This is the meaning of income elasticity. Okay. If the independent variable you take as independent variable a price of other commodities or substitutes or complementary commodity prices, the responding variable or dependent variable is demand of the certain commodity. So that's the meaning of cross elasticity. Cross elasticity of demand. So now this is the first, second, third. Those are the three major categories which you have to identify related to the elasticity of demand. Price elasticity of demand, income elasticity of demand, cross elasticity of demand. Okay. You can clearly identify after calculation those things. Okay, the difference between price, income, and process. So then, first of all, let's move to the price elasticity of demand. This is the first one, and this is the major things. Okay. The question related to the elasticity of demand mainly based on the price elasticity of demand. in your exam. Okay. Did you grab the previous exam papers? Did you download the
Yes, sir. There are few.
few? Okay. We will use those things. Okay.
Yes.
Like, let's move to the price elasticity of demand. Price elasticity of demand. Right. So then how we can define that? When other things are remaining constant. Okay. Others remain constant. When other things are remaining constant. According to changing price. The response of the quantity of demand. Very simple. Okay. When other things are remaining constant, according to changing price, the response of the quantity demand. අනිත් දේවල් ස්ථාවරව තියෙනවා වෙනස් වෙන්නේ නැහැ. මිල වෙනස් වෙනවා. මිල වෙනස් වුනහම quantity demand එක කොහොමද වෙනස් වෙන්නේ? Okay, according to change in price, the response of the quantity demand. Right? This is the idea you have to concern about price elasticity of demand. Okay, did you get the idea? Right.
Yes.
But you can identify there are 5 types of elasticity in the price elasticity of demand. 5 types. Okay. Just try to identify the name, the meaning, and you can calculate it very easy. Okay. 5 types of it. Now, before that one, we have to identify how we can calculate the elasticity. We call it PED. PED means price elasticity of demand. Okay. Equal. Okay. Okay. Now you can see P is the independent variable. This is change in independent variable. Okay. Changing independent variable. This is changing dependent variable. After dividing the change in dependent variable by using changing independent variable, you can find the price elasticity demand or elasticity amount. Okay. As an example, let's consider this is the price schedule, demand schedule, 5, 10, and 200. It is just 100. Okay. Right. This is the schedule. Now you are going to calculate the price elasticity demand at the point of 5. Okay. When the price is equal to 5, you are going to calculate the price elasticity of demand. Right. PED equal delta QD divided by delta P. If you got certain prices, do not use the 100%. Okay. Then multiply by Q divided by this one. P divided by Q. This is the, okay. This is the equation you can use to find the point elasticity. If you can copy that one, that's equation, it is good. It must be used in next one. This is the equation you have to use to calculate the point elasticity. Point mean one prices, one certain prices. Okay. One certain point in the curve of the demand curve. Yes, one certain point. Right. And another equation is there. It can be used to calculate the elasticity between two prices. It can be used to calculate the elasticity between two prices. Okay, as example, PED equal delta QD delta P multiplied by P1 plus P2 Q1 plus Q2. Okay, P1 plus P1 mean the first point. It is just price is equal to 5. P2 mean 10 rupees. Now it is Q1 mean just 200, Q2 mean 100. This we call as arc elasticity, ARC, arc elasticity. Arc elasticity. It can be used to identify the response of the demand between two prices. You will calculate it, then you can identify the difference between point elasticity and arc elasticity. As an example, just calculate in here. I'm going to calculate this 2. Okay.
Excuse me, sir.
First one. Oh, yes.
Sir, first equation එකේ 100% දාන්න එපා කිව්වේ මොන
හරි 100% දාන්න එපා කියලා කිව්වේ දැන් අපි තියරි එක තමයි 100% වලින් බෙදන එක. This is a theory. QD දැන් අපි මේ තියරි එක කියලා කියන්නේ දැන් ඔයාලට මෙතන තේරෙනවා delta P 100% කියලා ලියලා තියෙන්නේ ඒකේ change එක changing amount එක. ඒ changing amount එක කොච්චර respond කරාද quantity demand changing amount කියලානේ තියෙන්නේ. ඒතර අපි දන්නේ නැහැ එතන නෑ certain price එකක් නෑ certain quantity එකක් නෑ කිසි දෙයක් නෑ. හරි. ඒ හින්දාම තමයි මම කිව්වේ ඒක තරම් 100% පාවිච්චි කරන්න බෑ අපිට calculation වලදී කියලා. හරි. මොකද 100% පාවිච්චි කරන්න පුළුවන් අපිට certain price එකක් දීලා නැත්තම්. දැන් අපි උදාහරණයක් විදිහට මෙහෙම ගන්නකො. price සාමාන්‍ය බාණ්ඩ එක මිල 120කින් වැඩි වුණා කියලා. හරිද? 120කින් වැඩි වෙනකොට quantity එක 150කින් වෙනස් වුණා කියලා කියනවා. අන්න ඒ වෙලාවට ඔය වගේ එකක් use කරන්න පුළුවන්. හැබැයි ඇත්තටම අපි දැන් මේ point elasticity එකේ අර prices quantity අරන් ගණන් හදනව නේද? කොච්චර ගණන් හැදුවත් ඕකේ උත්තරේම තමයි. හරිද? කොච්චර අපි මේ point එක 1 P1 P2 අනම්මන මොනවයි අරන් බැලුවත් finally ඇත්තටම ඕකේ උත්තරේ තමයි. 100% change එක තමයි ඉන්නේ. ඒක අර calculation mathematics වලින් හදලා තියෙන්නේ මේක එන විදියට තමයි. ඒකින් තමයි අපි අර ඉස්සල්ලාම පෙන්නන්නේ changing 100% changing the independent and 100% changing the dependent variable. ඕකේ උත්තරේ තමයි අපි ඔය දෙවිදිහකට calculation කරන්නේ. අපිට certain pointers prices quantity දීලා නැත්තම් පළවෙනි එකට යන්න 100% එකට. නැත්තම් තමයි අපි මේව පාවිච්චි කරන්නේ. මම ඒම ගානකුත් හදලා පෙන්නන්නම් ඔයාලට. එතකොට තේරෙනවා මොකක්ද වෙනස කියලා. right අපි calculation කරමු මෙන්න මේක මොකක්ද? Point elasticity. Right. Related to that information, okay? Right. We have given the schedule, demand schedule. PED equal delta QD. Delta QD means the difference between 2 points of the quantity demand. It is just 100. Yes. 200, 100. The difference is 100. Delta means changing amount, the value of the change. Okay. Delta P means the change of the prices. It is just 5 rupees. Okay. And multiply. The point is just 5 rupees. Okay. If any calculation to do in a paper, they will say the point. They will say the certain prices. So now at that point, you will have to use that point. They will say the amount or prices or anything. That means this is the point you have to calculate the elasticity. In here, just consider 5 rupees is the point. Okay. So then for the fee, you have to use 5 rupees. Okay. For the QD, you had to use 2. Okay, just 1, 1, 1, just 2. Okay, finally, 1 divided by 2. Okay, that means PED equal to 0.5. Okay, this is the final elasticity coefficient. We are not going to call as amount, it is coefficient. Coefficient. We call it demand elasticity coefficient. Okay. Coefficient mean සංගුණකේ ඒ වගේ idea එකක් තමයි. අපි ඒකට amount එකක්වත් point වලින් මොනවද කියන්නේ නෑ. coefficient එකක් කියලා කියනවා. Right. Now you calculate the point elasticity. It is 0.5 coefficient. Just calculate the PED by using arc elasticity. Similar amount, similar change in the price, but there is 2 types of prices. P1 is just 5 rupees, P2 is 10 rupees, Q1 is just 200, it is 100 rupees. So then PED equal 100 divided by 5 multiplied by 50 and 300. Okay. So then 5 just 1, just 3, just 1, just 3, 3 by 3 divided by 3, just PED equal to 1. Okay. Now you can identify which one is the most accurate theory. Arc elasticity or point elasticity. What do you think? Arc elasticity is the accurate one or point elasticity? Arc elasticity.
Arc elasticity, yes.
I will prove it. Just consider the price of the certain commodity 200. Okay. It changed to 100. So you can identify the change in percentage change. It is 100%. Yes, it is 100%. දෙසිය තියෙන එක 100ට කියන 100% change එකක් නේ. So then just consider about the 5 rupees. It become 10 rupees. It also 100% change. So then amount 100% change by 100%. So answer must be 1. That is why arc elasticity is more accurate. It finds the real value, real responsible, a real response of the commodity demand. But we are not going to use it because there is no 2 prices all times. We are going to calculate the elasticity for the certain prices. That is why we are going to use point elasticity in the exam. Okay. Exam එකේම අහයි. Calculate the point elasticity. Then use that first equation. Calculate the arc elasticity between 2 prices. So then use the arc elasticity. They clearly identify what they are going to ask. Sometimes they are not going to ask about point or something like that. They are asking, calculate the elasticity between price between 10 and 5. So now you have to identify this is arc elasticity calculation. Okay. Sometimes they ask, when the price of the commodity equal to 10 rupees, so what is the elasticity of the commodity? So now you have to identify, this is point elasticity calculation. Okay, they are not going to say that use this equation or this equation. This is the method of economics in every level. Okay, right. You identify the elasticity and you identify the elasticity calculation 2 methodologies, point elasticity and arc elasticity. Now let's practice that. Okay, as example, just go to the demand schedule. Okay, right. This is price of the X commodity. This is quantity demand of the X commodity. Okay, 10 rupees, 20 rupees, 30 rupees. Okay. 1000 and 500 and 0. Okay. That's enough. Right. By using calculate or create the quantity demand equation QD equal BP. Can you calculate this one by using schedule?
So can you help me with this?
Yes. First of all, just calculate the value for the B. B
Okay.
mean delta QD divided by delta P. Delta QD value is just 500 and delta P value is just 10 rupees and the B value become 50. Okay. Just use that 50
Okay.
in here. Okay. And then certain point. Select the certain point. Okay. The certain point quantity demand value is just 1000 rupees. Equal A minus 50 within brackets 10. 10 mean at the price of the point. And calculate this one is 500. So minus 500 become plus 500. The change in direction. And it become 1500. I say. So then QD equation equal QD equal 1500 minus 50. Okay. Just try it. Okay. By using different types of schedule, you can copy demand schedule from the internet, Google,
Mm.
or just ask from the chat GTP, create the demand schedule for me. So then it will create. So now by using that schedule, you can calculate, create the equation. This is the method you can practice. If you are not going to practice that calculations, definitely it will forget. Okay. Within 3 or 5 days, you can forget. Very easy. Okay. Calculation, always calculation is very essential for the economics. Okay. Each and every theoretical framework created by the calculations. That is why it is very important. Okay. Calculation හොයාගෙන කරන්න පුළුවන් මේක. ඊට පස්සේ බලන්නත් පුළුවන් ඔයාට ඒක හරිද වැරදිද කියලා. හරි. එතකොට ඒක calculation එක කරන්න ටිකක් මම දැන් ඉස්සලා B හොයන්නේ. First of all, you have to identify the value for the B. Next, we are going to find the value for the A by using selected point of the schedule. Right? Right. So this is the point. This is the equation. Now in the question number 1, they are asking, okay, calculate the price elasticity demand, PED, at price equal to 25. Price equal to 25. Now you can see that in the schedule of the demand, there is no 25 processes. Okay. So now you have to identify, you have to calculate another calculation before the answers. So there is a price 25, there is no quantity demand. You have to find it. How you can find it? Just use the equation. Okay. Equation say QD equal 1,500 minus 50 P. Okay. So then for the fee, you can put the value 25. So okay, that means this amount 50 multiplied by 25. 50 multiplied by 25, it is 1,250. 1,500. So then QD become just 250. Okay. Now already we calculated 200 values. So now you can calculate the elasticity. Right. Go to the point elasticity. This point elasticity because they are asking calculate the PED and price 25. Price 25. Certain prices is there. PED delta QD divided by delta P multiplied by PQ. Right. Delta QD mean the changes, difference between 2 pointers. It is just 500. Delta P mean the price changes. It is just 10.
So at the price 25, is it the change the 5 or 10?
No. It is just certain prices.
Oh.
It is only certain prices. May certain price එකනේ අපි ගන්න. දැන් schedule එකේ දීලා තියෙන changes ටික තමයි අපි ඉස්සලා ගන්න. හරි. ඒක පටල ගන්න එපා. ඒක අර පටලගෙන 5යි කියලා දැම්මම සම්පූර්ණ ගණන් වෙනස. Right? 25. At the price equal to 25, quantity demand is just 250. Right? Right. So this is the calculation. Okay. 2, 1. Right? That means, yes, this is the this also can be crossed by 5. Just 2, 5. That means 2 multiplied by 5, 2 multiplied by 1. That means 10 divided by 2. This is 5. PED is, it is just 5, isn't it? Yes. Yeah. Okay. Okay, this one was very hard. Okay, it is a simple calculation. If you have to recheck all those things, it is very simple calculation. Okay, do not worry about that one. Okay. Your practice must be there. Then you can grab it. It is very easy. So if next question asks about the elasticity between price 10, between 10 and 20. So now you have to use the arc elasticity calculation. Okay. P1, P2, Q1, Q2. The answer can be changed. Do not worry about that. So if you are going to calculate the point elasticity at price 10, if you are going to calculate again price elasticity at the point of price 20, answers can be changed point to point. Okay, but the arc elasticity answer is always similar. But the point elasticity can be changed one point to another point. Okay, right. Now you identify the elasticity. Elasticity means according to change in the independent variable, the response of the quantity demand. Okay, according to change in the price, the response of the quantity demand. That's the meaning of price elasticity demand. Right. So now you have to identify 5 types of demand. Is very important. Okay, just try to identify the name of the category and the coefficient value. Coefficient value means the final answer of the price elasticity demand. Just try to identify the name, coefficient value, and the shape of the curve. Three things you have to identify in here. First one is the name, second one is the coefficient, third one is the shape of the curve. The shape of the curve is changed one by one. Okay. Don't try to hesitate. That is very difficult. It is very easy. Okay. It's very easy. Okay. I will describe all those things in different manner. It is very easy. Okay. Do not hesitate with that. Okay. You can ask any question. Anything. Okay. So first of all, identify the 5 types. Then we will discuss about all those things. First one is perfect inelastic. Perfect inelastic. Elastic, the different word of the elastic, it is inelastic. Inelastic means not going to change. Elastic means is going to change. Right? Perfect inelastic. Yes, definitely not going to change. The coefficient value, I mean, PED must be equal to 0. After the calculation, you can identify the value of 0 as a coefficient. So if any calculation, if you got the value 0, so you have to identify this is perfect inelastic situation. Okay. By using that perfect inelastic, you can take the decision whether you are going to impose taxes or subsidy or anything. Each and everything depend on that one. මේක දැනගත්තම තමයි decision තේරෙන්නේ. ඒක රජේ වුණා තීරණ ගන්න එහෙම තමයි. ඒක මම කියලා දෙන්න කොහොමද එහෙම තීරණ ගන්න පුළුවන් කියලා. හරි. Right. Perfect. First one is perfect inelastic. Second one. Inelastic. 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 It is not perfect. So now you can identify the coefficient of this point is PED, price elasticity demand. Okay. It is less than 1. Okay. That means the value less than 1. Less than 1 means it is bigger than 0. So now you can identify if any coefficient after calculation, if any coefficient 0.5 or something like that. We already calculated that. 0.5.
Yes.
It is inelastic. Inelastic. Okay. We will discuss how it create. Okay. Third one, unique elastic. Unique elastic. Unique elastic means after the calculation of PED, always the coefficient equal to 1. The coefficient always equal to 1. So that is the point, that is the situation you have to identify. This is unique elastic. How it happen? Delta QD and delta P similar values. 100% divided by 100% always will be 1. So just consider this one also. It is. So just consider something like that. 50% divided by 100%. So it must be 0 point. This is inelastic. So in here, 0. Sorry. There's no response. Zero තමයි. බින්දුව 100ෙන් බෙදුවා නෙමෙයි 1000ෙන් බෙදුවත් බින්දුවයි. දැන් ඔයාලට මේකෙන් තේරුම් ගන්න පුළුවන් මොකක්ද මේ වෙන්නේ කියලා. In here you can identify. This is delta QD. This is delta P. Delta P is the changing factor. Delta QD is the response factor. So then there is no response. That is why this becomes 0. Coefficient 0. That's why we call it perfect inelastic. Okay. මේ වචනේ තේරුම තමයි තියෙන්නේ. වචනේ තේරුම මේකයි කියලා පැහැදිලි වෙනවා නම් calculation එක මේකයි කරන්න ඕනේ කියලා හිතෙන්න දාන්න. ඒකයි මම කියේ අමාරු එකක් නෙමෙයි මේක easy කියලා. හරි. And next one. Price changes 100%. But response is reasonably low compared to the independent factor. Reasonably low response. That is why we call it inelastic. PED always 0.5, 0.3, something like that values. Less than 1. Always. So in here, price changes are 100%, quantity changes also 100%, similar values. If the price increased to 20%, quantity demand also reduced to 20%. Similar changes. So that is why it become 1. That is why we call it unique elasticity. Unique. Unique means similar. It is similar. There's no change. Okay, the fourth one. Okay, fourth one. Elastic. 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 In here, the price elasticity demand or coefficient value always take greater value than 1. Greater than 1. That means PED price changes 50%, but the quantity changes 100%, 150%. More responses than price changes. That is why it becomes valuable more than 1. Right. Last one. It is perfect elastic. Perfect elastic. PED equal to infinity. PED equal to infinity. Infinity means something like that one, okay? Infinity. When you apply infinity, අනන්තේ අපරිමිතයි කියලා ලියන්නේ ගණන් infinity. ඒ කියන්නේ මේම එකක්. 100 divided by 0. දැන් ඔහම එකක් calculation එකේ ගියාම මොකද වෙන්නේ කියලා. maths error හරි මොකක් කරලා එකක් ඒ කියන්නේ infinity කියන එක තමයි කියන්නේ. බෙදලා ඉවර කරන්න බෑ මේවා කරන්න බෑ. එහෙමයි. ඒ කියන්නේ without price changes quantity can change. එහෙම බලන්න තියෙනනේ price change වෙන්නේ නැතුව quantity change. ඒ වගේ situation එකට perfect elastic කියලා අපි කියනවා. එහෙම වෙන්න පුළුවන් market situation third lesson එකේ ඔයගොල්ලෝගේ තියෙනවා. perfect elastic market කියලා එහෙම calculation එකක් තියෙනවා. Did we get the 5 types of elastic? Price elastic demand. Perfect. Inelastic, unique elastic, and elastic and perfect elastic. Okay, right. Now we can identify the shape of the curve with the calculations. Shape of the curve with the calculation. I will describe one by one. දැන් මේ පහ අවබෝධයක් කවද මොකක්ද කියන්නේ? ගැටලුවක් නැහැ. මම මේක විස්තර කරගෙන යන්නේ. I will describe one by one. Okay? Don't worry. Right. First one is perfect inelastic. Right. Perfect inelastic. Right. That means PED equal to 0.
0.
0. Right. In here, you can identify how the demand curve look like at that point. So just consider this vertical axis represent the prices, horizontal axis represent the quantity of demand, and this is the 0 point. And the demand curve, okay, demand curve is not going to change. Demand amount is not going to change. Start from this here and something like that. Always demand curve is a parallel line to the vertical axis. Parallel line to the vertical axis. Okay, is parallel. Not going to change. I will put some value in here. First value is just 20 rupees. Second value is just 10 rupees. I will call that point it's A, this is B. Always the amount of the quantity is just 200. Okay, I will describe that one. Point point A, point B, price of the commodity point A, it is just 10, and the quantity demand, it is just 200. Price of the commodity of the at the point of B, it is just 200, and quantity demand, it is just 200. No change in the commodity. Did you see that one? Speed value?
Yes.
No. So then now you can identify where the point A and B similar amounts, similar quantities, but there's a change in the prices. Yes, there's a change in the prices. So if you are going to calculate that point A of B, the value of the coefficient must be equal to 0. Yes, because it is inelastic. You just consider PED equal delta QD divided by delta P multiplied by P minus P divided by Q. I will take the point A. Okay. Delta QD means the change. It is 0. There is no change. No change. Price changes, just 10. At point A, price is just 10. Quantity is just 200.
200.
Yes. So anything, you have to multiply by 0. So it becomes 0 automatically. So that is why I say that in here. So if you see some curves parallel line to the vertical axis or price axis, you have to identify this is the situation where demand is equal to perfect inelastic. Calculation coefficient must be equal to 0. Is there any example? Yes. Just consider about the electricity usage of your home, whether price increase or decrease, you are going to use it, isn't it? When the price of the elasticity, yes, price of the electricity bill decreased by 20% yesterday or day before. Yeah. You are going to consume more and more electricity? No. Similar amount, similar. Whether it is increase or decrease, you are going to use it. Okay.
So our gas example එකත් ඉස්සරින් කිව්වේ it's also same, ne?
Yes. If there is no any alternative for the urban people, so their elasticity also perfect inelastic for the LP gases. 100%. There is no changes in the amount when the price increase or decrease. Just consider the price decrease. They are not going to use for the other purposes. Guys. Similar for the preparing the foods. That is it. So those are the example. So now you can identify this type of elasticity can be seen in the practical situation also. It is practical situation. It is not a assumption. The practical situation. Just try to grab the curve and the calculations. And also example also. What is usage of electricity and the LP gas demand from urban people. Okay. Right. I will upload this record also to LMS. Then it is very useful to see the again and again. Your calculation can be practiced with that. Right. Are you okay with this position?
Yes.
Perfect elasticity? Yes. We can move to the next one. Next one is inelastic. Inelastic. In here, the PED, I mean price elasticity of demand, the coefficient take less value than the price. Yes, less than 1. Right. As example, always 0.5, something like that. Okay. Right. First of all, we have to identify the shape of the curve at that point. Shape of the curve. It's very important. Okay. Shape of the curve. This is horizontal axis. And this is vertical axis. It represents the prices. This represents the quantity of demand. This is 0. And the demand curve take something like that. This is the demand curve. Okay. I will point out 2 points. This is the point A. This is the point B. This is the price of 10. This is the price of 20. When the price equal to 20, quantity demand is 100. When the price equal to 10, quantity demand 120. Okay. Now you can identify how we can calculate the elasticity of demand. It is PED equal QD delta 100%. 100. This is the concept. You already identified this concept. Just identify the response of the quantity demand is the amount is this. But just consider the response, the change in the price is taking greater value than the changing quantity demand. The area value of the area. මේ තියෙන area එකේ value එකයි මේ තියෙන area එකේ value එක බලනම change එකක් තියෙනවා කියලා පේනවා. අන්න ඒකෙන් තමයි ඔක හදාගන්නේ. Right. So just we are going to calculate that one. PED delta QD divided by delta P multiplied by P minus P divided by Q. I will take the point point B, okay? Point B. Point B. PED. Just try to calculate with me. You can practice it, okay? Delta QD mean the difference between two types. Point it is just 20, isn't it? Yes. Price changes 10. We are going to take the point B. The point B price is just 10 rupees. Quantity is just 120. Okay. Right. Now we are going to calculate PED equal 10 equal 10, 21. It is 6. That means 1 divided by 6. 1 divided by 6, 0.16. Okay. You to take the value. Calculation. So now you can identify PED taking less value than the what? Yes, it is proved. Okay. So how it happened? This is the point you have to identify in here. It's very important. Okay. Just look at the change in prices. Change in prices. This is the change in price. It's take greater value. Okay. This is the changing quantity demand. It's take less value. Okay. As an example, it is changed 10 to 20. 10 to 20 means 100%. This is 100 to 120. It is 20%.
20%.
20% divided by 100%. That means 20 divided by 100. It is 0.2. It's calculate the arc value. It also represent the coefficient of the price elastic demand is less value than the one. ඒක එහෙම වෙලා තියෙන්නේ price එක change වෙනවට වඩා quantity එක change වෙන එකේ response එක අඩුයි. Response එක අඩු හින්දා තමයි inelastic කියලා වචනයක් දීලා. Elastic කියන්නේ change වෙනවා. Elastic mean change. Inelastic mean less changes according to change in the independent variable. ඒක තමයි උතන තියෙන්නේ. Right. You identify both. Are you okay with that one?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay, now let's move to the unique elasticity. Third one. Unique elasticity. Okay. Right. Right. Again, this unique elasticity represents price elasticity demand or coefficient of the price elasticity demand always must be equal to 1. Yes. So then this horizontal axis represents the quantity of demand and vertical axis represent the price of the commodity. Okay. Right. This is price and this is quantity of demand on 0. This is QD or quantity demand. We call that shape rectangular hyperbola. This curve takes special characteristic. Why? Because this certain curve, demand curve, not going to touch or cross the horizontal axis or vertical axis. But you can identify previous two curves already cross the vertical axis or horizontal axis, isn't it? Yes. So, but in here there's no any crosses. It take rectangular shape. Okay. In here, I'm going to point out two demand points. This is A and this is B. This is just 10 and 20. This is 100 and this is 200. Okay, right. Now I'm going to calculate the PED. Okay, PED, right. Delta QD divided by delta P multiplied by, right. In here, you have to identify something. You can use point elasticity with the demand curve straight line. But you cannot use point elasticity when the demand curve takes other shapes. You have to use arc elasticity. It's very important, okay? If demand curve take different shapes, hyperbola or any, you have to use point elasticity, not point elasticity, you have to use arc elasticity. Right? Right. Then you are going to arc elasticity. P1 plus P2, Q1 plus P2. So PED, well, delta QD mean the difference between 2 point of quantity demand. It is just 100, isn't it? Yes. And the difference between 2 point of the prices is just 10.
Yeah.
And price P1 is just 20 rupees and just 10 rupees and 100 and 200. So then that means 100 divided by 10 multiplied by 30 and 300. Yes. 1 and 3. 1 and 3. 3 divided by 3. So always PED must be equal to 1. Always PED must be equal to 1. Because values are similar. So now you can identify when the elasticity equal to 1. Okay, elasticity equal to 1. Always this must represent a similar response. If price change 20%, quantity also must be 20%. If price change 50%, quantity also going to respond 50%. Similar changes, that is why it become 1. Okay. So now, this is the point. Yeah, you can identify the unitary elastic or unique elastic. Okay, are you okay with that one?
Yes.
Yes, right. Now let's move to the fourth one. Okay. Elastic situation, okay. PED is greater than 1. Yes. Is greater than 1. This horizontal axis and the vertical axis. This represent the price. It is quantity of demand. This is 0 point. And now the shape of the curve, it becomes something like that. Okay. Right. I will point out 2. This is A and this is B.
It's a straight line, no, sir?
No, it is not a straight line. It is a straight line. Yes. Curve is a straight line, but is different from the other curves. Okay. Now you can identify the price changes are taking less value. Okay. But the quantity changes are taking greater value, isn't it?
Yes.
Exactly the opposite side of the inelastic. Just look at the inelastic situation. in your notebook, in your note, just look at the inelastic situation. This is the 100% opposite situation in here. So it become coefficient value become less value than the 1. So this now take a greater value than the 1. The opposite situation. It is very easy to understand.
Yes.
අරක දන්නවනම් මේක අනිත් පැත්තනේ තියෙන්නේ. Right. TED equal delta QD divided by delta P and P. This is because this is point elasticity. This is straight line. Right. Now quantity demand changes just 200. Price changes is just 2 rupees. I'm going to calculate that in point B. Okay. Price is just 10 and quantity is just 300. Right. 2, 5. Right. 2 CM bedenu 3. That means 10 divided by 3. 3.3. Yes, 3.3 is always greater than the 1. Now you can identify how it become greater than 1. There's no secret in here. Just look at the change in the prices. Just look at the change in quantity demand. More responses. For the certain amount change in the prices, the quantity demand change is taking greater value than the price. That is how it becomes. It's very easy to understand. Okay, just if you look at the curve shape, you can identify the coefficient before calculations. Okay, if you look at the changing in the direction of the demand curve, you can imagine the value must be something like that. The value must be something like that. Before calculation, you can imagine. Okay, if you identify the shape of the curve very easily, you can do it. Right. Is there any example for that one? This kind of commodities? Just look at some luxury commodities in Sri Lanka. When the price changes, quantity demand can be changed. Just consider about the vehicle prices. More than price changes, quantity demand can be changed. Yes. The අපේ රටේ මේ luxury නේ vehicle කියන luxury නේ අපේ රටේ. ඒක essential නෙමෙයි. ඒවා මේ change වෙනවනේ essential වෙන්නේ European countries වලට. අපිට ඒක luxury එකට luxury වෙලා තියෙන දැන් මේ import trade section එකකින්ද. එහෙනම් price change එකක් ආවොත් එහෙම quantity එක වැඩි කරයි මහා විශාල ගණන්. ඒකනේ මේ මාෆියා එකක් ක්‍රියාත්මක වෙන්නේ හින්දා. මොකද supply එක ගොඩක් අඩු. ඒ හින්දා පොඩ්ඩක් price එක වෙනස් වෙච්ච ගමන් මිනිස්සු විකුණන්නයි මිලදී ගන්න හදහත බලන්නේ. යාර ගේන්න හදනවා කියපු ගමන් prices change වෙච්ච හැටි. හරියට බැලුවා නම් ওই site වල මේ ඊයේ දාපු එක අද වෙනස් කරා. මේ කියන්නේ response එක වැඩි. price එකේ response එක වැඩි වෙනවා. දැන් petrol ගන්න response කරන්නේ. price change වුණා response කරන්න බෑ. price එක කොච්චර වුණත් වාහනයක් use කරනවා නම් කොහොමද ඉතින් petrol use කරන ගාන use කරන්නේ. You cannot change the amount of liter according to change in the price. So then whether it is price increase or decrease, you have to purchase it. Then there is no response. Something diesel can be changed. Diesel prices because of the public transport. But it also can be a limited amount because each and everyone who are living in this country cannot reach the public services. It's a limited services is there. අපි ගෙදරක් ළඟ ඉන්න public service එක කවදාවත් අපිට නෑ. අපි ගෙදර ඉස්සරහින් බස් එකක් යන්නේ. ඒක public service එකේ මේවා මොනවා වුණත් මට ඒක වැඩක් නෑ. මට යන්නේ මගේ වාහනේ නැත්තම් මගෙන් හරි මම ඒතර අර පබ්ලික් ට්‍රාන්ස්පෝර්ට් එකේ වෙනස් වුණා කියලා මම ඒක පාවිච්චි කරයි කියලා හිතන්න බෑ. දැන් තියරි එකේ කියනවා එහෙම. උනාට කරන්න බෑ. අපි වගේ රටවල ඕකේ වෙනස්කම් තියෙනවා. Practical factoring. Right? Okay. Did you get the idea for this one?
Yes.
Yes. Let's move to the last one. It is perfect elastic. Number 5. Perfect elastic. PED equal to infinity. Unable to calculate that amount. That is why it become infinity. Okay. So I will. Okay, this represent the prices. This represent the quantity of demand and 0. And demand curve, it is parallel line to the horizontal axis or quantity axis. There is no change in the prices. Price is similar, but the quantity can be changed without changing the prices. Without changing the prices, quantity can be changed. Okay. So now you can identify PED, delta QD value, there must be value. Delta P, there is no change in the prices. So just consider about the A. Delta QD is just 100. Delta P is 0. Only 10. No changes in the prices. So price is just 10. Quantity is just 200.8. So calculations. Each and every calculation must be divided by 0. 0 means you cannot divide it by 0. That is infinity. මොනවා කරත් බින්දුවනේ බෙදන්න තියෙනවා කන්සිඩර් මොන ගානක් බින්දුව බෙදනවා කියලා කියන්නේ උත්තරයක් එන්නේ නැහැ. Infinity. So just consider about the firecrackers, prices of the, demand of the firecracker in certain occasions, festival time period. Demand changed without price changes. In next month, demand decrease without price changes. So then there is no effect of the prices. Without price changes, quantity can be changes. එහෙමව තියෙනවා. දැන් price එකක් change. දැන් හිතන්නකෝ price එකේ කිසි වෙනසක් නැහැ. Diary ලියනවනම් calendars දැන් කවුරු කාටවත් හිතනවද calendar එකක් මුලදී ගන්න මාර්තු මාසෙ මේ මාසෙ හිතන්නේ තිබ්බත් එල්ලන්නේ නේ තියෙන විදිහට ඔහි ඉන්න එකනේ කරන්නේ. ඇත්තටම හිතන්නේ ජනවාරි මාසෙ නැත්නම් දෙසැම්බර් මාසෙ. ඒතර ඒකම price එකක් නෙවෙයි. විකුණන්නේ නැහැ මිනිස්සුන්ට. නිකන් දෙන්නේ. ඒ වගේ දේවල් වල තියෙනවා price effect නැති බහල. There is no any effect of the prices. For some commodities, there is no change in the prices, but quantity demand can be changed without price changes. So that means perfect elastic. Always coefficient of the PED can be taken infinity values. So now it is easy to identify the curves, and I will describe that by using easy method. Okay, this is the point. This is the first curve, second curve, third curve, fourth curve, and last one. Okay, so just consider the curve A is represent perfect inelastic. perfect inelastic. Okay, A, B, C, D, E. E represent the perfect elastic. So now you can identify how curve become like that. So in the perfect inelastic mean, curve is a parallel line to the vertical axis, price axis. This is price, this is Q axis. So it is parallel line to the price axis. So if you are going to consider about the perfect elastic situation, demand curve, it is parallel line to the quantity axis or horizontal axis. This is Q. It's very easy to identify. Okay. And you are going to identify the next one. It is B, inelastic. This is elastic. Okay. Inelastic. In here, inelastic takes something like that. So, something like that. Yes. But in elastic situation, it takes something like that. Okay. දැන් බලන්න මේ perfect elastic එකට ළඟ හින්දා elastic කියලා තියෙන්නේ. දැන් මේක හරහසටම දෙනවා මේක ටිකක් ඒ වගේ ළඟට ඇවිල්ලා. නේ? perfect inelastic එකට ළඟට ඇවිල්ලානේ මේක මේ තියෙන්නේ. ඒකනේ inelastic කියලා කියන්නේ. Right? In here, the coefficient value PED equal to 0. In here, PED equal to infinity. Yes. In here, I mean in elastic situation, PED is less than 1. But in the elastic situation, PED is greater than 1. So you can identify perfect inelastic opposite situation is perfect elastic. Inelastic situation, opposite situation, and the practice is elastic situation. This is greater than 1, this is less than 1. Okay. Shape also. And this is unique elastic. It's PED equal to 1. Unique elastic. Similar. The amount of change in the price always equal to the amount change in the quantity demand. Always delta QD equal to delta P percentage. That is why it becomes 1 equal to 1. So this is the elasticity of demand. You have to identify the elasticity of demand at that 5 type of categories you have to calculate. Is there any questions in your papers related to the price elasticity demand or something? මොනහරි ප්‍රශ්න තියෙන මේ මේකෙන් ආපු ප්‍රශ්න කියනද ඔගේ පාස් පේපර් එකේ?
So there's only a model paper. Past papers මුකුත් දීලා තිබුණේ නැහැ කියලා මිස්.
ඒකේ තියෙනවද price elasticity demand?
Demand equations and supply equations. Calculate the price elasticity of demand at the equilibrium එකත් එක්ක කියලා.
ඔයාලට මේ ෂෙයා කරන්න පුළුවන්ද ප්‍රශ්න?
පුළුවන්.
Okay. Right. 1 minute. You can share it. Okay. Share, whiteboard, share note, or anything. Okay, right. You can share it.
So in case sharing is not turned on, kill them.
Okay, wait 1 minute. Now it must be it. Right. Can you zoom in it? Equilibrium. Equilibrium price, calculate the elasticity of demand at the equilibrium prices. Okay, we didn't discuss the equilibrium point still. Before we discuss the equilibrium, we have to identify the supply of the supply equation and supply theory. And after that, we can calculate the equilibrium prices and quantities related to the equations. Otherwise, we cannot do it. But in here, they are asking calculate the price elasticity of demand at the equilibrium price of the product. Equilibrium price means the exchanging situation where demand, where the consumers' expectation and the producer expectation equalize in the market. Price must be there and the quantity must be there. At that point, you have to calculate the price elasticity of demand. Okay. I will describe in after that one. I can do it, but you cannot understand because supply part is not done yet. That is why. Okay. Many questions are based on the calculation, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yeah, you can identify the price elasticity demand. Just hold down. Question number 2. Yes. Income elasticity demand, price elasticity demand, cost elasticity demand. Outline the 4 main factors that affect the supply of the goods and services. You provide with the following information. Production of X and Y, elasticity, price elasticity of demand of X minus 0.2. Y is minus 1.2. So already we identified that the relationship between price and quantity demand is minus. Okay, there's no doubt about that one. All the calculation we calculate earlier, all values are minus values. But we are not going to put in the minus value. Okay, make it podi me. පැටලෙල්ලක් තම උතන තියෙන්නේ. ඒක ඉකොනොමික්ස් කියන සබ්ජෙක්ට් එකේ තියෙනවා. මෙන්න මේක ඒක ලේසි කරගන්න ඔයාලට මෙහෙම එකයි. කොහොමත් ප්‍රයිස් එකයි ක්වොන්ටිටි එක අතර සම්බන්ධතාවය නෙගටිව් නේ. ඔව්. ඒක පැහැදිලි ඉන්නද? නෙගටිව් රිලේෂන්ෂිප් එකක් තමයි මේ දෙක අතර තියෙන්නේ. එතකොට කැල්කියුලේෂන් කරන හැම එකකම වැලියු එක නෙගටිව් වෙන්න එපයි. ඔව් නෙගටිව් වෙන්න ඕන. හැබැයි අපි නෙගටිව් කියලා දැම්මේ නේද? දැම්මේ නැහැ. දැම්මේ නැත්තේ කැල්කියුලේෂන් කරන නෙගටිව් කියලා දාගත්තොත් ගාන වරදිනවා. හරිද? මම උන නෙගටිව් කැල්කියුලේෂන් දාලා පෙන්නන්නම් ඒකට ගාන වරදිනවා. නෙගටිව් දැම්මේ නැත්තේ හේතුව දැන් ඔය හැම එකකම බලන්න අපි අර කර්ව් එකේ ඇඳගත් එක. ප්‍රයිස් එක අඩු වුණානේ. 20 ඉඳන් 10ට අඩු වුණා කියලා දෙන්නේ. අපි ඒ වුණාට චේන්ජ් එක විදිහට 10 නෙලින්නේ. හැබැයි ඇත්තටම වැලියු චේන්ජ් එක කීයද ඔකට ක්වොන්ටිටි? -10 කියලා දාන්න ඕන හරිය.
-10.
-10. But we are not going to put the minus value. That is how we are going to calculate. So put the minus point into the coefficient. That is enough. But in economics, we are not going to use that minus value for the coefficient because everyone know the relationship between price and quantity demand is minus. Why we are going to put that minus value? That is why we are not going to put the minus value. If you are going to put the minus value for the quantity commodity A as -2, B value -4, then -4 -4 දැම්මට පස්සේ okay වැඩි value එකක් තියෙන්නේ කොහොමද කියලා හොය කියන්නේ -2 කියන එකට. අයි -2 නේ වැඩි. statistically valued, -2 is the valuable one. But in calculation value, -4 is the valuable one. That is why we are not going to put minus values. If there is no minus value, you can easily identify the 4 is greater than the 2. That is why we are not going to put that values. In some cases, I mean, in the exam papers, they will put the minus value. Don't worry about that one. It is always minus. So then you can identify the price elastic demand of X commodity. It is inelastic. That is why it be less value than 1, inelastic. This one, more than 1, elastic.
Yes.
Okay. Income elasticity, we didn't discuss that. We can discuss. මේක තේරුම් ගන්න පුළුවන්. මෙන්න මේ අන්න ඒ ඉලාස්ටික් එක අඳුර ගන්න තමයි වැලියු එකක් දෙන්නේ. වැලියු එක දුන්න ගම ඔයාගේ අහන ගානයි. ඔය ප්‍රොඩක්ට් එක මොකද්ද nature of the product කියලා කියපු ගම ඔයාට අඳුර ගන්න පුළුවන්. So we already discussed that the example. If the price elasticity become 0.2 value, it become inelastic. That means the price changes taking greater value than the quantity changes.
Yep.
That means the response of the quantity demand taking less value. So you can identify some day-to-day commodities, necessary commodities, price changes are there, there is no quantity changes. So those are the commodities. The nature of the commodities can be identified by using the elasticity of demand. So that is the level you have to get the knowledge. ඒකට කලින් තමයි මම අර එක කියලා දෙන්නේ. මෙහිමයි වෙන්නේ. නේචර් එක මෙහිමයි මේක වෙනස. දැන් ඕක ඔය නේචර් ටික හරියට වෙන වෙනම අඳුරගත්තට පස්සේ තමයි ඔයාට කෝබිසන් කියපු ගම මේක තමයි මේ කියන්නේ. මේක තමයි මේකෙන් කියන්නේ. කියලා ඔළුවට එන්නේ ඒ කෝබිසන් වෙනම අඳුරගත්තට පස්සේ. නැත්නම් මට එකපාරට කියලා දෙන්න බෑ. මෙහෙම එකක් આવොත් මේකයි වෙන්නේ කියලා. කිව්වයි හැබැයි තේරුම් ගන්න. ඒකමයි එකින් වෙන් කර කියලා දෙන්නේ. මෙතන මේ ඉන්කම් ඉලාස්ටික් එකත් එහෙම තමයි. ප්ලස් නම් වෙනම. ඒකේ තියෙනවා ප්ලස් මයිනස් වෙනම. ඒතරට අපි කැල්කුලේට් කරනකොට when we are going to calculate the income elastic demand, you have to use minus value and plus values. According to the coefficient minus or minus, you can identify this is essential commodity, this is luxury commodity, this is inferior commodity, this is given commodity, something like that. Different types of categories are there. And the cross elasticity also. There's 2 types of cross elasticity answer, is plus value and minus. According to the cross elasticity, you can identify this is substitute commodity, this is complementary commodities. Okay. According to the coefficient of the cross elasticity, you can identify the relationship between X and Y. This is substitute 2 commodities. This is complementary commodities. So that is what we are going to do in here. එතනට තමයි අපි ඉන්න ඕනේ. හරි. ඒක මේ එකපාර කරන්න බෑ ඉතින්. එකපාර කියලා දෙන්න පුළුවන් එකපාර ගන්න ටිකක් අමාරුයි. මොකද චුට්ටක් අර මේ කියලා දීපු දේ දැන් අද කරන්නේ price elasticity demand එක. ඒක තමයි ටිකක් ලොකුට තියෙන ඊළඟ දවස් අපිට ওই දෙකම කරන්න පුළුවන් එකපාර. exam තියෙන්නේ කවද්ද?
Exams තාම නැහැ. මේ වගේ වෙයි. මේ ජූන්.
එහෙනම් අපිට කරන්න පුළුවන්.
So දැන් අද lectures පටන් ගත්තා. අද macro economics වලින් start කරේ.
online ද?
නෑ sir, physical.
Point?
Sir?
Location?
නාවල.
Right. Main building. Okay, I also conduct some lectures related to the open university exam, branch Kandy, Polonnaru and Anuradhapur. But I left it. It's very hard to do that one. Traveling is very hard. It's better to conduct my classes as it is enough. Okay. Actually, we cannot deliver the 100% syllabus to the student because limited time period. 105, 2 lectures. Yeah. Even we cannot take that concept of elasticity within 2 days.
Mm.
So how we can do it? Because most of the students are studies A-level stream in science, maths, or something that not related to the economic subject.
Mm.
So they don't have any basic knowledge to identify what we are going to discuss in here. So it become hard to the student.
Yes, sir, it's really hard to understand during the
Yeah.
lecture.
Yes, it's really hard. I
Yes.
think that. මම ඒ කරන කාලෙත් මේ ළමයිට දැන් කරලා එනවා ලෙක් මෙලෝඩියක් තීරෙන්නේ අපි ගණන් හැදෙනකොට බලන්නේ අපි දිහා රවාගෙන ඉන්නේ ඉතින් කරන්න දෙයක් නෑ ඉතින් අපිට මේ ගාන මෙහෙමයි එන්නේ කියලා හදලා දෙන එක විතරයි කරන්න බෑ කන්සෙප්ට් තියරි මේව කරන්න ගියොත් පොඩි තියරි එකක් කියලා දෙන්න බෑ දෙකක්වත් ඕන cannot do it okay right අර වැරදිච්ච answers ටික
Oh, sir.
can you go to the LMS in your
Sure, sir.
desktop or laptop? Right. Okay. Click the number 1. Right. A point inside the PPC curve. So the point inside the PPC curve. So then you have to identify the inside. Inside always represent the acceptable region. Outside represent the unattainable region, where we cannot produce goods and services at that point. Okay. But inside you can produce. The maximum possible output represented by the curve line. Okay. So if there is a point where we are going to produce inside, so that's the meaning of unemployment resource. Unemployment resource means you got resources, but you are not going to use to production purposes. That is why you cannot produce maximum possible. That is why you cannot reach the maximum possible. So then your production point under the production possibility curve. So that is why we call it point inside the PPC. Its answer is unemployment resources or inefficiency. Inefficiency means you are not going to fully utilize the resources for the production purposes. Some workers are not engaged with the day-to-day production activities. Some workers are working properly, but some workers are not working properly. So those are the errors. Okay. Okay, let's move to the next one. Okay, demand refers. Okay, the demand is refers, but we are going to represent the quantity demand or demand when other factors are remaining constant, the combination with or certain prices, different prices and different quantities. This is the, you can identify schedule. Schedule always represents the demand. Okay. So then, yeah, there was a mistake in here. The answer must be the willingness of ability to purchase goods and services at various prices. You are correct, okay? There's a error in uploading this questions, okay? The second one is the answer. Okay, right. It's okay. Fourth one. Third one is okay. Fourth one also okay. Fifth also okay. Right, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, that's good. Yes. Right. A command economy solve basic economic problem. Command economy mean you can take example for the command economy North Korea and the Vietnam, Cuba and Venezuela. North Korea, Cuba, Venezuela and Vietnam. Early Russia also. Before 1994, Russia also considered as a command economy. Command economy mean all basic economic problem, what to produce and how to produce or how to produce, each and every problem resolved by using government organization. Okay, we call it centralized planning system. The decision making, all the decision making in the economy take by the government. There's no role for the prices. There's no role for no duties for the private sector. Each and everything decided by the government authorities. Okay, we call it command economy. Otherwise, we can call it socialized planning economy. Socialized planning economy or command economy. Command given by the government. So just consider about our country. This is not a command economy. This is mixed economy. Private sector is there and government sector also is there. Both sector can provide the answers for the basic economic problem. That is what we call as mixed economies. Each and every South Asian countries follow the mixed economic system. But some European countries, those are changed the economic system into socialist economics or command economy and social command economics also in India. Just consider about German, Denmark or something like that countries. The ownership of the resources are going to private sector, but the decision taken by the government. That is why they develop. But some countries who collapse the country, ownership go to the private sector and each and every decision taken by the private sector. So then there is no equalization, right? It collapses. We also has to face something like that decisions. Okay, so we call it centralized government decision making. Okay, right. Next. Right. If an economy produce more capital goods than consumer goods, capital good mean machineries, equipments, building, something like that. If any country try to produce more and more capital goods, okay, produce more capital goods than consumer goods. Consumer good mean day-to-day consumption commodities. Okay, if any country try to produce more and more capital goods, the future demand can be happen, growth can be happen. Okay, the answer must be fourth one. Grow more quickly in the future. ඒ කියන්නේ මෙහෙමයි දැන් වර්තමානයේ දැන් අපේ රටම ගන්නකො. අපේ රටේ පාරවල් ටික හදලා, කර්මාන්ත ශාලා හදලා, යටිතල පහසුකම් ටික හදලා නම් අනාගතේ රට දිවෙනවා. හැබැයි අපි තියෙනේ වගේ ඛණ්ඩ ගත්තොත් එහෙම තියෙන ආදායම සියරම කනවා. ඒකට ඉතින් කියවන්නේ දැන් අපි ඒක ඕනේ ගෙදරක්ම ගන්නකො. ගෙදර හම්බ කරන රුපියල් 100. 80ක කාලේ 20ක් ඉතුරු කරනවා. ඉතින් අනාගතයක් නෑ කියලා තේරෙනවද නේද? ඒක එහෙම නෙමෙයි වෙන්න ඕන. 40ක්වත් අඩුම ගන්න ඉතුරු කරන්න පුළුවන් නම් අනාගතේ මොකක් හරි කරගන්න පුළුවන්. ඉතින් ඒක ගැන හිතන්න. consumption commodities කියන්නේ day to day consumption කියන අපි කන බොන දේවල් ටික ඒවා ප්‍රොඩියුස් කරා කියලා අපිට තේරුම් නැහැ. ඉතින් මේක තියෙන grow more quickly in the future. Which factor is not determined of the future? Right, 20. What is the opportunity cost of attending college? opportunity
ඒක
cost එක කොලෙජ් එකට.
potential.
Oh, yes.
So I think opportunity cost එකේ වෙන්නේ like next best thing එක
Next,
මේ
next best. Oh.
එතනදී both tuition fee and foregone income එක.
නෑ. ඔයා මේ select කරලා තියෙන කාර්යය.
Yeah.
select කරලා තියෙන කාර්යය. second එක තමයි. ඒක මේ අප්ලෝඩ් කරන මොකක් හරි මේ correct answer එක මොකද්ද කියලා මේව කරන්න තියෙනනේ අප්ලෝඩ් කරන එක වරද්දලා. second එක තමයි හරි. දැන් මේ වගේ එකක් කරනකොට මොකක් හරි දැනුමක් එනවා නේද? ඒක අප්ලෝඩ් කරලා තියන්නේ නැහැ. තව තියෙනවා පස්සේ. එතකොට මේ අපි දැන් මේ කරගෙන අපි වගේ අප්ලෝඩ් කරලා තියන්නේ එතකොට හරි. Demand equation, demand elasticity, price elasticity demand and coefficient. I will upload it. Okay. Right. එහෙනම් අපි අදට නතර කරමු නේද? Right. එහෙනම් thank you. Good night.
Yes, sir.